Wedding rear.
Numbing hand.
Wedding rear.
Essence of slug. Numbing hand.
Wedding rear.
Essence of slug. Numbing hand.
Wedding rear.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of It's Time to Rewind, the podcast trapped in its own time loop right along with the movies we discuss. This season is a serial bomb, and we're looking at Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, starting off with Buffy Season 6, Episode 5, Life Serial. Today we're discussing the 9th loop starting at 26 minutes and 15 seconds with the doorbell ringing, and ending at 26 minutes and 19 seconds with Buffy sobbing to camera. Joining me for the last time is Tierney Steele from the Apocalypse Now Minutes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, better than Buffy.
Yeah, so, let's jump right into it. This is another, very short scene. This is just 4 seconds of Buffy sobbing to camera. But
this is, however, the one I relate the most to.
But there's so much going on in this frame, I feel like, because it feels like a very sitcom setup, because you have Buffy in the middle facing camera, and then you have Giles and Anya on either side, kind of diagonally facing towards the camera, but not directly towards the camera. And Giles, again, is cleaning his glasses as usual with the rag in his hand.
As is tradition.
Yeah. And Anya is just kind of awkwardly grabbing at the bottom of her dress, almost like if she's going to hike it up a little bit, or, I don't know, she's just kind of fidgeting with her skirt, well, with the skirt half of her dress.
She's just so awkward. And I wanted to say specifically on the scene, shout out to Emma Caulfield. I'm sure you've already talked about Anya with your other guests with loops that she's in more, but oh my god, Anya is another great character arc on this show. Yeah. I adore her. I have nothing in common with her, and yet she's fabulous.
Yeah, I think that especially in season 6, she has my favorite arc, my favorite character arc, even though she does have that, the rebound fling with Spike towards the end of the season. I think
understandable.
Again, yeah.
It comes you understand. It's from a place of. But anyway,
yeah, she even says, that was just for comfort. That wasn't anything else.
No. Anya is another great character who was introduced, and then we thought that was it. We thought we had completed that arc, but no. Emma Caulfield is just so fabulous as this character. The energy that she gives to Anya, and therefore the joy that Anya brings to our lives is all her ridiculousness, including this episode.
And as well as her fear of bunnies.
And iconic fear of bunnies. It's just, and again, it usually when you like a character on TV, it's because you relate to them. I have nothing in common with the character of Anya. I am 100% someone who reaches the point where I'm just going to cry now. I would have gotten there a lot faster than Buffy, I think, especially if I'm already tired. The worst used to be in the before times, flying an early morning flight if I didn't get coffee in the airport ahead of time. And I always did carry-ons, trying to shove my bag and find a spot for it and shoving it in. But I'm so tired. I don't know what's happening. And I would just start crying, in the middle of the plane, I can't handle this. It's too much.
So the one actual loop question that I have for you in this, because again, this is just 4 seconds of Buffy sobbing, but do you think that this is the Buffy continuing a sob from the previous loop, and then she just starts sobbing in whatever happened with the customer the previous time, and then she just stands there where she reappeared and just continues the sob.
Oh, I like that. I was thinking that the bell was like some kind of trigger for her now. But I like that, and that makes sense that I don't know. I kind of still think it's just like she hears that bell and she's just like, I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I give up. I shouldn't say that near my laptop. I'm not talking to you this time, I swear. My laptop's heard me say that many a time where I'm just like, nope, we're done here. We give up on this day. We're going to go home, put on our yummy sushi pajamas, and move on with our life. Yeah, you're right in that it does feel very sitcom-y because, like, it is the comedic, like, all she's doing is standing there crying. Like, she's not fighting anyone. She's not trying anything different. She's just like, I'm just going to stand here in frustration and cry.
Yeah, and this is also like the denouement of, or not denouement, but like the, because this is the second to last loop, because, again, spoiler alert, in the very next loop, she solves it.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of the lowest point before, in terms of like an action scene, like an action movie, this is where, you cut to all the different hero characters in their different positions, and you see that they're all appear defeated right before they rally and then defeat the enemies at the end.
Yeah. And it makes sense. You gotta hit rock bottom. See clearly. I get why she goes, and I do think they did a good job of showing her doing different things. I think it's important that we show, like, her anger before with the glasses and the throwing the candle, and now the crying. Like anger didn't work. She's not going to be able to break anything, attack anyone, throw anything that is going to change the situation. She can't stab anything. She's like out of ideas. And so she is giving up. This is her giving up. But then the bell's going to ring again, and you and your future guests will get to continue along this beautiful journey. Wow, I didn't think of that, how depressing it is that I end with just Sarah Michelle Gellar crying.
Yeah, although you did just, make me think of, I hadn't thought about this before. I definitely talked about it when in my first season discussing Groundhog Day, but I'm kind of curious if this montage relates to like the 7 stages of grief.
It might. I mean,
where there's like the denial, anger, bargaining, and then this would be the depression.
Yeah.
And then the next one would be acceptance.
Because it's slightly out of order, but you could argue that the finger sold separately was the bargaining.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing you wanted, but for the cat, yeah. Ooh, I like that. It's hard for us to see Buffy at her wit's end.
Mm-hmm.
It always is. I have figured out over many, many years of my life, I feel what Chewbacca is feeling in Star Wars movies. When Chewbacca is upset, I am upset.
And I feel like she doesn't, like in general, she doesn't get to this point very often. I think typically it's just like right before she is able to defeat the big bad. Like I feel like she has this moment once per season in general. And then a couple times in a few of the other episodes, like, again, like the body.
Yeah, but I was going to say, we've definitely seen Buffy crying, but it's very different. It's usually not crying in frustration.
Yeah.
Like, that seems like a new, not a totally new, obviously she's been frustrated in her life, duh. But, like, seeing Buffy cry from frustration is, like, seems very rare. Like, this is a gal who does not usually get pushed to this point. So I think Jonathan's going to have a good argument. Him winning.
Yeah, well, speaking of Jonathan, one thing that I did want to do, since this was a shorter loop, and we did this in the previous one, because for Warren's, they actually scored his plan, but they don't score Andrew's or Jonathan's. So I figured it would be a good idea for us to score Jonathan's plan.
Right.
Let's see, Warren got 50 points for ingenuity, 30 points for actual contact, and then they gave him 7 out of 10 for the freak out factor, which they multiplied by 20 for 120 points, for 140 points, and for a grand total of 220 points. And then on the the second episode, Andrew scored pretty low. I think we just gave him like 20 points for potential risk factor, and then 4 out of 10 for the freak out factor, for a total of like just 100 points.
Yeah, because Andrew ruined her day, but like she wasn't freaked out.
Yeah, so what would you give Jonathan on the freak out factor out of 10?
I almost want to go a full 10, because we do see this breakdown and we see her freak out in multiple ways. And as you pointed out, we basically see her go through the entire cycle. At the lowest, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10, at least.
I can see that, because they were between a 6 and an 8 for Warren's plan, and I do think that she's more freaked out.
She is more freaked out, and spoiler, Jonathan is going to point out, it lasts a lot longer from Buffy's perspective.
Yes.
There's a lot more Buffy freak out to this.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely scores higher on the freak out factor. So I would say like a 9 out of 10 or possibly a 10 out of 10. But if people feel like that is going too far, I will accept a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think 9 out of 10 is fair from my point of view. And I think that the ingenuity of this, going time loop, and I may be preferential, but I think... I was
going to say, you might be biased towards liking the time loop, I suspect.
But I think that the ingenuity score, I think, is on par with Warren. Although, well, actually, it may be a little bit lower just because Warren was also messing with time in a different way. Warren was speeding up time and Jonathan is repeating time. So,
but I like that Jonathan's has a mission. Like, what was the point of Warren's? He sped up time and she freaked out. And then so they hit self-destruct once she found the thing that was making time speed up. Like, what was the point of that? Same thing with Andrews. There are demons. Okay, fine. And she fought the demons in one. But, like, what was the point? Whereas Jonathan's has, like, a mission statement.
Yeah, and also, yeah, they're, like, they kind of explain this whole test as them, like, trying to test the Slayer. And, like you said, I don't know what Warren was specifically trying to test, but I feel like this one you could say that this is Jonathan testing her problem-solving skills.
Yes! So I think I do agree that, like, maybe ingenuity is a little bit lower. Like, if Warren got 50, maybe you do, like, 30 for ingenuity, because, like, maybe he already had, like, oh, we can mess with time. But I feel like he makes up points elsewhere for that. Like, maybe it's, like, 30 for ingenuity, but then also, like, 30 for
actually
design.
Testing. Yeah,
30 for test design. Something like that.
For actual statistics, like measurable statistics that they could get.
For his goal being smart, as HR used to tell me back in the day. So yeah, and obviously he doesn't have the 30 for contact, but that's okay.
All right, so that's 180 points for the freak out factor, and then plus what was it, 30 and another 30?
I think so.
So
that makes sense to my
60,
brain.
so that's 240.
240, and Warren's was 220?
Yeah.
I love it, because Jonathan is better than Warren.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with that score.
Still not a good person, but better than Warren.
Yeah.
This is clearly the winner between those three tests.
Yes, I agree. Even though they do point out, in the next loop that from Giles's perspective it was the shortest.
Yes, but you're not testing child.
All right. Well, is there any other characters that you want to talk about? I know we kind of skipped over some of them. We talked a little bit about Xander. I guess we could talk a little bit about Willow and Tara. I think are the two big ones that we haven't hit on yet.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up.
Willow, I have very complicated feelings about her season 6 storyline. But overall, Willow is probably one of my favorite fictional characters of all time.
Yeah, again, she has like just a fascinating character arc across the season. And I think I liked the idea of the addiction to magic, but I think they kind of wrote themselves into a corner a bit. And I really did not like the one single episode where it's like, it seemed like they were ramping it up nicely and then it just spiked on the one episode. She went from, like a 4 on the addiction scale to a full on 10 junkie in one episode.
Yeah. It's hard because I don't think she's doing like a bad job of it. And I also have my own personal bias of my sister and I didn't watch the early seasons. She did. I jumped in later of How I Met Your Mother, and it immediately became clear to us that I am a Lily and she is a Robin. So like I have a bias towards Allison Hannigan that I'm not getting over. Tara is wonderful. Like, what a character. Just a genuinely good person.
Yeah, I think, I like Tara as a concept. Like, she's a great character, but I feel like she was really sidelined. I think my problem with Tara is she doesn't really get the chance to have a whole lot of development, because she kind of comes in as this, great, perfect character, and she ends as this same great, perfect character.
But I feel like that kind of makes sense because, like, this is the show about Buffy and her friends, and Tara is her friend's girlfriend. So, like, she's part of the gang, but that does make sense to me on some level that, like, she wouldn't have the same development. But I totally understand. And there are definitely episodes where, like, the tweeness, the Renaissance fairness of Tara is a bit much for me. But like, she as a person is lovely. The aesthetic is a bit much for me sometimes, but that is neither here nor there. The other person I want to give a shout out to, who is not in this episode, who is not in this season, but going way back, Marcy, played by Clea Duvall. Clea Duvall is amazing. And I love her to pieces, and I'll watch basically anything she's in. So, and I wonder if that started with Buffy.
I'm disappointed that they never brought her back like they kept bringing back Amy.
I thought they would. But my thing was, I was a huge, before Buffy came out, yes, because that was 95, I was a big X-Files person. And so the Marcy episode to me felt like an X-Files episode, but with high school and Buffy. And it was like, oh my God, the world is amazing. And so I always had a soft spot for that. I've always had a soft spot for Clea Duvall. I had no idea she was in The Handmaid's Tale. I just started watching that for the first time. And I was just like, please don't ever let anything bad happen to you. So yeah, I don't know. I've been really blessed lately with TV. I've been watching I just started watching The Handmaid's Tale. I'm watching A League of Their Own, the TV series based off of the actual League, but with some elements from the movie. And then House of the Dragon, which is trash, but like high fantasy trash, and Matt Smith is in it, and I'm into it. So yeah, it's just been a joy.
Yeah, my favorite Buffy character, which I actually haven't talked about, is Drusilla. Like, I love her as a character, and played by Juliette Landau.
I was trying to remember if it was Julie or Juliet.
And she follows me on Twitter, which when that happens, that was like a high point in my Twitter career.
I love that. Yeah, she's one. She's done a lot of is it horror or just I don't know. There was other vampire stuff where I was like, this isn't really my jam, but go you. There's a few actors and actresses I follow who are like doing horror movies now, and I'm like, I'm never gonna watch that, but congratulations! I'll like the Instagram post about it. How's that? Does that help?
Yeah, I didn't follow her career after Buffy, but I love Drusilla as a character. Just that whole, just that completely insane type of character that's like so much that she barely knows what's going on, and she's like so off. I mean, like, Anya is one level, but she at least knows what's going on. She's just looking at it from a different perspective.
Yes.
Drusilla just is off in her own little world, and it's just wonderful. Yeah. And she just has these brief moments of not even lucidity, but she just has these brief moments where her madness aligns with what's going on.
Yeah, because she can be, like, really scary. Mm. Which, like... She's such a dreamy character most of the time, and then like when she is present, you're right. It's like whoa. But yeah, I love the Anya character, and she is operating in the current world, in the real world. And listeners, if you have not watched the musical episode of this show, yeah. You simply must.
Yeah, and that's another one that I'm looking forward to. That's going to be another bonus episode after I finish the 2 time loop episodes. And I did rewatch it because it's just like 2 episodes after this one in season 6. Mm-hmm. So it is so much fun, and it's always like in the top
Xander,
10.
Look at me, I'm dancing crazy.
Yeah, there's so many great moments in that, and I don't know why, but it's like the one line that always sticks with me. I think because of the commentary, which I'm sure I'll go into it a bit more whenever I actually discuss the episode, is the random guy going, "I got the mustard out,"
and then dancing with the dry cleaning.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's such a great episode. Just a delight, and then I also love like the delight of being like, Allison Hannigan can't sing, and that's fine. They make it work. Like, it's very clear to me who amongst this cast was like, yeah, sing, that'd be great, and the other ones were like, wait, what are we doing now? So yeah, you have a lot of good stuff to look forward to on this show.
Yeah, that's
but so for me, I'm just here for the montage, because you gotta have a montage.
Yes, montage! And thank you so much. This has really been a delight. I'm sure some people think that I'm crazy giving these montages, these time loop montages, each one their own episode.
They're due. They're giving them their due.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed talking with you for these episodes. And, for one last time, why don't you let everybody else know where they can find you online?
They can find me online at onesteelsister.com or on Instagram and Twitter at onesteelsister, ONESTEELESASTER. And at all those places, you will find links. I wrote a book set in 2000. It's high schoolers who came up right around this time, who are obsessed with X-Files and Star Wars and are just real big media nerds. None of them are like Warren, so don't worry about that. There is some slight toxic masculinity, I guess, but like just of its time. No, it was inspired by American Graffiti. So it's like for people who have been friends, like what's their last night before they split up for college look like? Because it doesn't matter like what time it's set in, what the dynamic of the friends are. I just always think that is such a fascinating time in people's lives, like that kind of on the precipice of everything changing, which Buffy has already gone through. And I'm really glad that Buffy didn't end with the end of season 5, because as weird as season 6 and 7 can feel, I think that it's good to be able to see what's on the other side of that. So that's my stand, and I'm sticking to it. By gosh, not that anyone cares. Like, it's done, so I don't know why I'm saying this so dramatically, like defending it.
Yeah, and as always, I am Bubbawheat, and you can find me at flightsightsandmovienights.com. You can find me on Twitter, where I'm at Bubbawheat. You can find this show, It's Time to Rewind, on Anchor.fm, as well as anywhere else that you listen to podcasts. We also have a Facebook group, It's Time to Rewind, a time loop group. You can join that and discuss episodes as they come out, as well as have discussions on time loops in general. And, there's one more episode, one more loop in this Buffy episode. And so until next time, grr.
Arg.
Word and rear.
Numbing hand.
Word and rear.
Essence of slug. Numbing hand.
Word and rear.
Essence of slug. Numbing hand.
Word and rear.